Good evening, everyone, and thank you so much for attending the Duke University Paralegal Studies Certificate Program Information Session webinar. My name is Stephanie Plowman, and I am Program Coordinator for the Duke Paralegal Program. With me this evening from Duke University is Phaedra Kelly, Program Manager, and together we are going to tell you everything you wanted to know and then some about the Duke program. So a couple of housekeeping matters at the outset. This program, this GoToWebinar system is very, very sensitive, and it picks up everybody's background noises. So due to that, we have you all on mute, but that does not mean that we don't welcome your questions. We are always ready, willing, and able for questions. Please do just type your questions into the questions box on your GoToWebinar toolbar, and those questions will pop up on my screen, and I will go ahead then and read them out loud, and we will answer them for you. Please feel free to type your questions as we are going through the presentation this evening. To the extent we can take a reasonable break and answer it at the time you ask it, we will do so, but certainly we will be opening things up to questions at the end of the session. So if we don't get to your question mid-presentation, we will certainly get to it when we're opening things up formally for questions. Now, what we are going to do this evening is talk about the paralegal profession in general a little bit, and then we're going to get into the specifics of the Duke program. So let's get started. Now, the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics estimates that between 2014 and 2024, the paralegal profession is projected to grow by about 8%. And this is actually a fairly good rate of growth, and it is above average growth rate for all occupations. And this has to do a lot with even going back to the economy several years ago when the economy first started to crash. Law firms found that they were unable to keep up with the high salaries of their attorneys and their young associates. So unfortunately for those attorneys, they found themselves without jobs, but the work was still there and someone had to do it. So enter the paralegals, because for all intents and purposes, paralegals can do the same type of work as young attorneys, but for, of course, advising clients and going to court. But as far as the research is concerned, the writing, the file work, meeting with clients, paralegals were able to step right in and were able to do a lot of great substantive work. Now, there are also areas of law which I like to refer to as niche areas, really for lack of a better word, where paralegals are uniquely situated to have a lot of autonomy and a lot of responsibility. Real estate is a great example of that. It's very form-heavy, very client-heavy, and paralegals are able to jump right in and do a lot of good work. Other form area heavy areas of law include intellectual property, immigration law. If you're ready, willing, and able to keep up with the ever-changing immigration laws, there are great positions for paralegals. And then just going back to the economy, although these things seem to be a little bit better these days, but bankruptcy law is always unfortunately kind of hot, sometimes going hand in hand with that, family law, matrimonial law. But there are a lot of great areas where paralegals can get a foot in the door and do a lot of great substantive work right away. Now, there are also paralegal opportunities not just in law firms, but in government agencies, legal departments, corporate counsel offices in corporations. So there are a lot of different areas where paralegals can put their skills to very good use. Now, the paralegal profession in North Carolina has an excellent outlook. According to NorthCarolinaWorks.gov, it has a bright outlook statewide for paralegals and legal assistants who are looking for positions and job openings. And according to the state of North Carolina, paralegal and legal assistance is a star job for 2016. You can see right here, actually the average annual opening is the second highest on this list with 338, just under medical and clinical laboratory technicians. So it is a great, hot, booming profession, and there are definitely job openings out there for paralegals, both nationwide and in the state of North Carolina. So that is incredibly really encouraging. Now I'm going to pass things over to Phaedra Kelly, and we're going to be bouncing back and forth a little bit this evening, but I'm going to pass things over to Phaedra, who's going to start talking to you about the specifics of the Duke program. So Phaedra, whenever you're ready.
Thanks, Stephanie. Hi, everyone. My name is Phaedra Kelly. I'm the program manager at Duke. I'm going to apologize in advance if I cough or sneeze. I'm getting over a cold, but I'll do my best. What you see here is a comparison of our online and classroom program. And to make sure you are aware that we do have an online paralegal program. You might find it suitable if you're looking at the classroom program and really realize you can't make the kind of time commitment, the 6 to 10 schedule that it requires. The online program is completely self-paced and student-driven. You have a year to complete the program. There's no actual deadlines. You just have a year to do the assignments, and you get feedback from an instructor who will grade your progress and answer your questions. The classroom program we offer at Duke 3 times a year, spring, fall, and summer. We have interactive personal instruction, and you also get, obviously, the opportunity to meet your fellow paralegal students and other attorneys in the field who are working locally. And perhaps the biggest difference is that the classroom program is approved by the North Carolina board. No online program is allowed to be certified, so that's the main reason for that difference. Next slide, please. And here we just have a quick look at the spring 2017 program and a picture of our building. This is Smith Warehouse. It is located right across Main Street from Duke East Campus. It's easily accessible. It's really close to Duke downtown, to Durham downtown and Ninth Street, which is another great place in Durham. You'll see that it has gated parking. Students are given a parking permit the first night of class to park there. There is security at the building, which I know is important because we do evening classes. Next slide, please. And this is just another kind of glance at Smith Warehouse. The photo on the left is the classroom that you'll be in. And of course, it has a projector and a screen. And then when you're on break, there is a lounge area for Duke continuing students. It has a microwave and a refrigerator in case you want to bring a snack. Next, please. All right, just a little bit about the schedule. The spring and fall schedules are 5 months. The spring schedule begins Monday, February the 13th at 6 p.m. It ends Thursday, June 15th. And it's basically evening weekend program. It meets Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 6 to 10 p.m. Usually it meets 3 times a week. Occasionally we do Saturday classes. Those are usually full day from 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. And when we have a Saturday class, typically what we do is cancel one of the Wednesdays and Thursdays. So it's very rare that you have more than 3 classes a week. That's pretty much the norm. Next, please. And I'm just going to talk a little bit now about the curriculum of the program, which of course is the most important part. The curriculum is divided into 2 main sections. The essential skills is the first, and basically this is the intro to the law. It's like the processes and the terminology of the law. You learn about the court structure, but other than that, you'll also learn legal writing and research, and that is really the nuts and bolts of what you'll be doing as a paralegal. In large part is that writing and research part. You'll also learn ethics and also some stuff about law, like law office etiquette, which is some pretty important stuff to know. For this class, which runs throughout the semester, you'll have 1 instructor and you'll have a bundled textbook that has a bunch of resources, some of which we'll talk about in a little bit. The other part of the curriculum, the other main part, I mean, is the substantive courses, and these are focused on participants of the law. It's contract law, real estate, family, and tort law. And for these, you have a new instructor for each course and a textbook for each course. All of our instructors are licensed North Carolina attorneys. Your substantive ones are going to be specialists in their field that they are teaching. The other thing I just want to note is that we offer a different variety of kinds of ways of learning in the courses. So you'll have lecture, discussion, demonstrations. You'll also be involved with independent projects and group projects. And then, of course, there'll be quizzes and exams and a variety of writing assignments. Next one, please, staff. This is just a little more on the curriculum. We also offer these survey classes, and these are just kind of little like one day or half day summaries of particular legal disciplines that we think are important for you to know as budding paralegals. And the ones we offer are business law, wills, trusts, and estates, criminal law, constitutional law. And the other reason these are important is that sometimes sometimes questions on from these fields are on the bar exam. So again, good to know. These have various instructors. They don't have textbooks. The other class that we offer is one called Employment Strategies. And this is a one-day Saturday class where an expert on employment strategies will kind of lead you through some tips on how to get a job when you're finished with a program. You'll review your resumes, how to do cover letters, advice on how to look for a job, and advice on interviews. And what's also great about that class is that in the afternoon you get to talk to two panelists who are paralegal graduates of the Duke program, and you can get some feedback from them. Also, the instructor for that class will look at your resume ahead of time and give you personalized feedback, which I think is really helpful. The other aspect of the curriculum that I just want to delve into, and Stephanie is about to go into this in much more detail, is the online support that's part of the program. You'll be on a place called paralegalspace.com where you'll get interactive study courses, and you'll also be introduced to LexisNexis and Westlaw, which are the two main online legal research tools that you will absolutely need to know as a paralegal. And all of that is included as part of your essential skills bundle. Next, please, Stephanie.
All right, and
we're going to you. Take it away.
We're bouncing back to me. Thank you so much, Phaedra. Okay, as Phaedra just mentioned, in addition to the classroom component of the Ground program, we do have an amazing resource for all students, Ground and online students, called paralegalspace.com. And at the outset, Paralegal Space is a communications portal among instructors, administrators, and students. You can see over here on the right-hand side, there are a whole host of recent announcements, including my favorite one, cake. That's a good one to show the family atmosphere that we have in the program as well. But in addition to the communications aspect of the website, there are amazing resources for you online here to assist you as you are learning about the law and learning all of these various materials. So you can see here on the left-hand side there are a series of black tabs, some of which we are going to go through this evening. The first one we're going to take a look at is the Resources tab, and this is not the main area of study support on Paralegal Space. We're going to get into that next, but this is an area of the site where your instructors and administrators can post additional resources for you to assist you in working through and understanding the material. So you can see there are essential skills folders, family law, a drafting docs, writing lab, all sorts of resources for you to to help you work through the law and the materials that you are working through in class. But the main area of study support on the site is under, I'll just go back for a second, this Para-Student Login Interactive Study tab. And this is where you can find study support that tracks all of the chapters in your Essential Skills books, as well as torts and contracts. Now, what we recommend you do is read the materials prior to coming to class, come to class and listen to and participate in the lectures, and then work through the corresponding study support. Now, the online support builds upon what you learned in class and enhances what you learned in class. It's an excellent review. It helps you pinpoint where you're experts already and where you may need a little bit more assistance and a little bit more work. So as you are working through the materials in your books, and this is an example of the Essential Skills support, you will log into the site and you will basically just click through each link under each chapter and work through that corresponding support. Now, it does run the gamut. It's not going to be the exact same structure every single time, so you'll get some lecture notes. This is right here is going through some of the definitions, the legal lexicon that you'll be learning that will become a part of your own lexicon as you're understanding all the various terms and that you will be using in the program and possibly even in conversation as you get comfortable. Learning the law can be like learning a foreign language, and not just because there's a lot of Latin involved, but it is a different way of speaking. It's a different way of thinking, and practice makes perfect with that. And so we do have all of this support and the various levels of support to assist you in getting comfortable with that lexicon and with what you are learning. You will also have various exercises, legal cartoons, interactive demonstrations, charts, you name it. It's probably a study support format on the site for you. Everybody has a different way of learning, so we like to keep it interesting, and we want to assist you again as you are learning sometimes these complex legal concepts. Now here's an example of an interactive quiz. This is in citations. We do have a citations lab on the site as well, which we'll talk about in a couple of minutes. A citation, of course, is that series of letters and numbers that you see after a case name. This will let you know as you are learning the study of research and you are learning legal writing, is this case something that I can use in my jurisdiction to support my argument, to support my position and my legal writing. So it's very important to not only be able to write citations properly if someone else wants to read the case that you are citing in your legal writing, but also when you're looking at a case that you know this is something that you can use. This is mandatory authority in your jurisdiction. This is something that the court needs to take a close look at because it is binding upon that court. So you want to know and make sure that you are using a case that is going to be helpful to you, but more importantly, helpful to your client. Here is an example of one of the charts and exercises that we have in the study support, but again, you can see that it's broken down in different kinds of ways, again, to cater to different learning styles and also just to keep it interesting. You don't want to see the same thing every time. You want it to be interesting, and so we like to lay it out that way for you. We also have tons of mock exams, practice quizzes, tests that you can take to review the material and to test yourself on the material. As you are completing a particular segment in Essential Skills, you can take a whole series of practice tests prior to taking your actual tests in class, the tests that count. You can take a whole series of practice tests to review the material and test yourself, again, to see in what areas of the law you're already an expert and in what areas you may need some additional assistance. When you are taking the mock exams and the practice quizzes, you will get instant gratification with the answers. You'll know what you got right, you'll know what you got wrong, and you will receive an explanation of why the correct answer is in fact the correct answer. Also, you can see here down at the bottom there's a study link which will take you to additional support if you're having some particular problems with with that legal concept or that area of law that you are testing on. So we have mock exams like this for all of your chapters, all of your segments within Essential Skills, and also in torts and contracts. Practice makes perfect. You also get out of the program what you put into it. So working through the study support is a required component. It's there for you. It is helpful for you. And those students who do well in the program and who do succeed are those who regularly work the study support along with the in-class lectures and reading the materials in the textbooks. Now, in addition to the support that tracks the materials in your books, we also have several additional labs on Paralegal Space for you to work through. This one that we're looking at right now is the Law Library Lab. And it's not like a brick and mortar law library or Westlaw and Lexis, which Phaedra mentioned earlier, the two main legal databases where attorneys and paralegals do legal research. But it is an area of the site where you can familiarize yourself with the types of materials you will find in an actual law library and on Westlaw and Lexis as you are learning about legal research. So as you're working through the exercises in the law library, you would click on one of the books in the stacks that you would like to take a look at. And that book will open up here on the left-hand side, and over here on the right-hand side you can learn everything you ever wanted to know and then some about this particular volume and these particular materials. You can learn how to use the book as you're viewing it, get up close and personal with it, see how the materials are organized, and learn the best way to work through these materials. How do you find what you're looking for? How do you research in these materials? Being an efficient researcher is a very important and valued quality in a paralegal, and both through the Law Library Lab, through your work in the Law Library itself, and also on Westlaw and Lexis, which we're going to talk about a little bit more in a minute, you will have the opportunity during the paralegal program to hone your research skills and learn how to be efficient researchers. You also learn how the books are, and the materials are updated, and of course with online research being so predominant these days, that's it's instant updates online. But again, you'll also want to learn how to work through these materials. What are the keys in working through these materials? Do I start in the index? Do I start in a table of contents? Where do I start? Where do I go to find what I need? Now, Westlaw and Lexis. Westlaw and Lexis is it's always everybody's favorite time in the program, learning legal research. Everybody always wants to know when they're going to get their codes, when they can get online and start clicking around on both of the databases. As Phaedra mentioned, Westlaw and Lexis are the two main legal databases that are used for online legal research. Now, they are substantially similar, but you learn both of them because you don't know what you're going to get in practice. You don't know which database you are going to be using when you are working in a law firm or a legal department or a government agency or wherever you end up with your Duke certificate. And they are very, very expensive databases to use in practice, and that's why firms and corporations have one or the other. So you will have the opportunity in the Duke program to become proficient and efficient on both of them. Now, your Lexis access is good for 1 year from your start date, and Westlaw is good for the duration of the program. So at least as far as Lexis is concerned, even when the campus classes are over, you are able to continue researching to your heart's desire for a year after your program start date. For the online program, you will have access to Westlaw and Lexis for 1 year from your start date for each one. Now, on Paralegal Space, you will have direct access not only to Westlaw and Lexis, but also access to the wonderful training resources that both platforms offer. And we do strongly encourage all of our students to work through the resources that are available on the respective sites. Both Westlaw and Lexis have updated within the last couple of years, and they've really put a great deal of effort into compiling wonderful training resources resources, and those training resources can be, short 2 to 5 minute videos. They can be real quick webinars that you can participate in, but they really have wonderful resources for you on both sites, so that we do strongly encourage you to make use of those, and make use of Westlaw and Lexis while you have the access in the program. As I mentioned, in practice, Westlaw and Lexis are very, very expensive. So you want to be an efficient researcher because you want to get on the site, find what you need, and get off as quickly as reasonably possible. In the program, you can stay logged on to both for as long as you want. And as I mentioned, it is important to get comfortable with both and to be efficient, because, for instance, if you were doing research for an automobile accident case and you entered as search terms into either database, automobile accident, negligence, injuries, they would both come back to you and say either, thank you so much for your search terms, but you're going to need to narrow this down. It's just too much. There are too many cases for us to pull. Or they're going to come back and say, here are 1,000,001 cases for you to start culling through. So you want to take this opportunity to get comfortable on the site so you can take that efficiency and training into practice with you. And then again, here is Westlaw, same thing as the Lexis slide. You can click directly to go to Westlaw, and then click into the right-hand side to log into the various training modules available on that site as well. Now, in addition to that legal research lab that we also have an interactive writing lab for your essential skills assignments. Now, there's no reinventing the wheel in the law. If you have drafted a summons and complaint for an automobile accident case, that's my favorite example, a summons and complaint for an automobile accident case 6 months ago, and a new automobile accident case comes into your office, you're not going to start from scratch. You're going to pull that summons and complaint from 6 months ago. You're going to take out the old facts, the old details of that case, put in the new facts for your case, polish it up nicely, and have a draft to hand over to your attorney. So to that end, we have templates for you for all of the documents that you will prepare in your essential skills class. So when you are starting to write one of those documents, you'll come into the writing lab and you'll click on the tab for whatever document you are working on at the top here. And then over on the right-hand side, you can receive step-by-step instructions in drafting that particular document. Now, you will have access to the North Carolina labs, because of course the campus program is in North Carolina, but you will also have access to templates for all 50 states and the federal jurisdiction. Now, when you are working within the writing labs, again, as I mentioned, you'll select the document in the tabs. Over here, you will select the document in the first drop-down box. Directly underneath it, you will be able to listen to an audio lecture about that particular document. And then underneath that, you will be able to take a look at a step-by-step guide, which will break down for you the various components you need to include in that document, and why, of course, they need to be there. Now, just some other fun functions of paralegal space. There's also a where you've been area, so you can keep track of the various support that you've worked through and just essentially where you've been. When you have worked through support, you will see a little green dot next to that particular area of support. When you have not worked through support, you will see a red dot. So again, this will help you keep track of what you have worked through and what you need to go back and take a look at. And then finally, we do have a graduate site that we move all successful paralegal graduates over to upon a successful completion of the program. You will have the same access to the forms and templates that you've had on your site that you've used during the course of the semester, and you will have continued training in research writing, citations, all of the skills that you have developed in the paralegal program. So you will continue to have the same access to all of the various labs, our extensive forms companion, and all of the resources that you will come to rely upon as you are working through the materials in the paralegal program. So it really is a wonderful site with great resources for you and wonderful study support. And again, as I mentioned, it is required, and we do strongly encourage you to work through all of the support. It is there for you. It is helpful. It builds upon what you're learning in class, and it is a wonderful review for you. So it is something that you should work through as you are doing your reading and going to class. Now, as far as completing the program, to successfully complete the program, you must complete Essential Skills core curriculum in each one of the substantive courses. You must complete all class projects, exams, the comprehensive final, and library research. And you must achieve at least an 80% cumulative on the substantives, as well as an 80% in Essential Skills to earn your paralegal certificate. There are also strict attendance requirements. You are expected to attend all classes as scheduled, and there is a strict 80% attendance policy in both the essential skills component of the program as well as each of the substantive classes. Of course, if you are not in class, you are going to miss a huge amount of material, so it is very important that you attend class, and we do, I can't say strict enough, we do pay strict attention to your attendance. Now, as far as program admission requirements, and Phaedra is going to talk about this a little bit more once we get to the next slide, an associate's or bachelor's degree is required to enroll. As you can see, just by going through the paralegal space slides, it is important that you have word processing and internet skills, that you are comfortable online. You have an email. I don't know who doesn't have an email account these days, but I'm always surprised by things. So that you have internet access, regular, steady, reliable internet access and email. Google Chrome web browser is preferred, and your computer should meet or exceed the following minimum requirements. What I always like to say is that you have a computer that you are comfortable with and one that's not going to crash on you every 5 minutes and that you regularly want to throw out a window. Please do be computer and internet savvy and have a system that you can rely upon. Now I am going to pass it back to you, Phaedra, for application and registration information. So, all you.
Thanks. Thanks, Stephanie. So if after all of this you're still interested, and I hope you are, you should visit our website, complete the application form, and pay the $25 application fee. And the deadline for doing so for the spring semester is January the 27th. And then you will want to submit, there's some supplemental documents that we need as well. And we usually ask that you try to get these in within 2 weeks after you've applied. But if you wait till the last minute, they're going to be due immediately. So all the supplemental documents have to be in by January the 31st. Excuse me. That includes a resume, a reference letter, official college transcript, and that one's due February 2nd, by the way, and a signed program policy. The college transcript needs to say that you've gotten the degree, whether it's the bachelor's or the associate's. If you have more than one degree, we just need the one transcript. We don't need all of your transcripts. The program policy you'll get from me once you've submitted the application form, and we'll just ask that you read and review it, sign it, and return it. And we do need that before you can apply. The reference letter can be personal or work related. It's totally up to you. And once you've submitted all of your documents, and if you are approved, then you must register for the spring program by February the 2nd. And that class begins on February the 13th. Next slide, please, Steph.
So Groundhog Day. I just wanted to point out that was Groundhog Day. I have a lot of birthdays on this day, but Groundhog Day. Otherwise, you'll have to go through it all over again for the summer semester. Anyway, okay. Sorry, Phaedra. Back to you.
No worries. And then probably the next thing you want to know, of course, is how to pay for it. And the tuition is $53.95, and that does not include textbooks. The books vary between $550 to $650. The Essential Skills textbook, because it is a bundled combination of online things, you have to buy new. But sometimes people can find some of the substantive textbooks online used and save a little money. So that's why that varies. You have to pay in full in order to register and begin the program, or you have to have an approved plan. And let me tell you about some of those options. And you can pay in full with cash or credit card, but there are some private student loan options that are available to you, both through Sallie Mae and Wells Fargo. And on our website, there is information about both of those loans. We also do a payment plan where you pay $1,800 upon registration. You pay $1,800 after 6 weeks into the program, and then you pay the remaining $1,795 after 10 weeks into the program. There's other sources of funding that you may independently want to look at. We are accept a VA funding, so if you're interested in that, I can let you talk to the Duke person who kind of is in charge of handling those. There's also a possibility of employer assistance, but again, any system like that needs to get pre-approval from us before you can do it. The other form that's not listed here that you might want to look into is the Workforce in Action. And so if you are currently unemployed, you might be eligible for some funds through that. And if you're interested in pursuing that, I can get you in touch with a good person to talk to in the North Carolina program who's really reliable and can help you out with that. Just please note one thing, because this is a non-credit program, we don't qualify for federal financial aid, so you can't apply. Next, please, Stephanie. Oh, and we're almost done. This is a photo of our beautiful campus. There's a nice gargoyle looking down.
My favorite.
If you're interested in applying, there's the website right there. If you cut off the application.asp part, that'll take you to the website. Gives you all the information about the classroom program, including the tuition and funding sources I was just talking about. So I'm going to open it up for questions now. I just want to note, though, that if you're like me, you might find that you think of a question 5 minutes after this webinar is done. And if that happens, feel free to call me or email me. And my email address is paralegal@duke.edu. So are we ready to open up for questions, Stephanie?
We certainly are. So if anybody has any questions, please do feel free to type them, as I mentioned, into the questions box on your GoToWebinar toolbar. And as they come in, I will go ahead and read those out loud, and either Phaedra or myself will answer those questions for you. And Phaedra, you stole my favorite line, which was the best question is usually the one, or the best and most important question is usually the one that you remember to ask as soon as we log off of the webinar. But as Phaedra said, we are always ready, willing, and able to take your questions, so please do feel free to reach out at the email address you see there on the screen, paralegal@duke.edu, and we would be more than happy to assist you. So let's see if any questions come in, and we will take it from there. As we're waiting to see if we get any questions, Phaedra, any final thoughts or words of wisdom you would like to share with our paralegals to be? As I stare at this gargoyle, the gargoyle is my favorite picture.
Just that, the gargoyle is really hilarious, actually. I like how it's staring down at people.
Mm-hmm.
Just that if you are interested, I would advise you to apply early. It can take time to get transcripts in, longer maybe than you expect in my experience, to get your official transcript. So do apply early. And again, that deadline is January the 28th.
And we did get a question, and this was actually one of the final thoughts, which I was going to say. So thank you to our question asker for being on the same wavelength with me. If spring is not going to be in the cards for you, we also have summer and fall semesters on campus at Duke. In particular, we have a question about when fall classes begin, Phaedra. I'm not sure if we have the fall semester, maybe we do, on the calendar yet. But generally the fall semester starts in late August, early September, and runs through about early February, something like that.
Yeah, if it starts in August, it usually ends the end of December. If it starts in September, it usually ends early, actually, or early to mid-January. I don't have the fall dates yet. They'll be up on the website as soon as we have them, but that gives you a general guide. And the summer dates are up already for the summer intensive program.
And we should
and the summer intensive program, by the way, meets, it's a 7-week program that meets during the day. It's like a 5-day-a-week program. So if you're trying to just get it out, get it done quickly, that's the way to go.
And then the online classes, of course, are open entry and self-paced. So whenever you have all of your financial ducks in a row and you have all of your registration materials and you will have 1 year from the time you are welcomed, 1 year and 2 weeks. We give you a little window within which to get your books. You'll have 1 year and 2 weeks within which to complete all of the required components of the program. So online is just is an ongoing registration process. But as far as the campus classes are concerned, we have spring and fall with the regular schedule that we discussed tonight with the spring schedule, and then the summer intensive, which is the 7-week program. So if spring isn't in the cards for you this time, that's totally fine. We would look forward to seeing you any semester thereafter. Are the online classes the same cost as the campus classes since online lasts for a year?
Well, the answer to that is no, but I need to look up the cost of the online because it's totally going blank on me right now. But I'm looking it up for you right now as I lose my voice.
That's okay.
Sorry about that. The cost of the online program is $6,995. So it is somewhat more expensive. It is nice because you can pay some out if you have a job and you can only do things certain periods of time. Some people are night people. I mean, it could be great for that if you have kind of a schedule that's not terribly fixed.
And also, if you're not in the Durham area, it's wonderful to be able to take the online program because you're still receiving the benefits of a Duke education, even if you're not in North Carolina. So
yeah,
that's very helpful as well. So, but yes, online is great.
Yes, and we take online applications from all over the country.
And online,
yeah,
that's true. We have some out-of-country students right now as well. But online is wonderful also if as Phaedra mentioned, if you're not able to get to campus, if you're not able to, just based upon your schedule or, life and family commitments and such, you're not able to focus on the program within the time frame of the campus program. Online, of course, is a little more spread out, and you're able to do the work and submit your work on your own time frame within your 1 year. So it is very flexible in that regard. Phaedra, if a student has, as far as transcripts are concerned, if a student has a PhD, would you need that transcript or the undergraduate transcript?
We really need the undergraduate. We just need a transcript that shows you've either gotten a bachelor's or an associate's. Now, if you're not going to get a PhD without a bachelor's, obviously, but we do need that first one, the bachelor's, for that. And again, those need to be official, which means they come from the educational institution and not a copy that you have on hand.
And if you have any specific questions, any specific transcript questions, you can, of course, reach out to Phaedra directly and discuss that. All right, any other
Yes,
questions?
I'm happy to take them.
Any other questions? Let's see, we'll give it a second to see if any other questions come in, and if not, we will, I guess, call it a night.
Well, again, we're available to take questions. You'll get a copy of this if you want to listen to it again. If you will also get an email from me tomorrow just checking in and making sure you understood all the information. So again, you know, if tomorrow you think of something different, feel free to contact me.
Okay, we did just get another question, and this is actually a good question and something that we should discuss.
Okay.
Do many people get placed with a job position once they complete this program? And I think we can probably bounce off of each other a little bit on this, Phaedra, but Duke does not offer job placement. However, there are several things that the university does to assist you in getting out there into the workforce. One of them is the employment strategies section of the program, as Phaedra mentioned before, where your resume will be reviewed. You'll go through, you know a little bit more about employment strategies than I do, but just how to interview for a position, how to write your cover letter, how to pinpoint how to enhance those qualities that you do have and that experience that you do have, whether it be legal or not, to jump out at a potential position and a potential employer in both your cover letter and in your resume. We also do get job openings from firms in the North Carolina area that we do post on Paralegal Space for current students and for graduates that you can, of course, then apply for. But there is no job placement as a part of
a fair amount. I should note. We get a lot of contact from North Carolina firms wanting our graduates, and so if you are on that online system, you will get those notifications about those. I will say Duke doesn't keep records of employment records of its graduates and things like that. I don't have any specific information like that to give you. But I will say that we do get a lot of requests from firms, and I'll just note that the employment strategies class is really invaluable. I don't think you realize just how good it is to have someone look at your resume who has an eye for such a thing, because they are so different. Those in cover letters are really difficult to write and difficult to kind of distance yourself from to see how they're going to be presented, to see how the others are going to see them. So I think the employment strategies class is a really great thing that we do.
No, it really is invaluable. I mean, that's the perfect word to use to describe it. Again, especially for students who may not have any legal background or legal experience, and we have all types of students who take the paralegal program. Some of them are contemplating a career change. Some of them are already working in the legal field and are looking for maybe a leg up, more knowledge, more experience to be able to take on more work. Some folks are contemplating law school and, of course, want to make sure they like the law before making that 3-year law school commitment. So Phaedra and I know all about the law school commitment. You want to make sure you know. You want to make sure that you like the law before you get into law school. That is definitely the path you want to take. And so we do have a lot of students who take the program to ensure that it is the right path for them. Certainly for those students who don't have any legal experience, and sometimes I'll do information sessions across the country in person, and I'll have students come up to me, and I vividly recall a student very dejectedly coming coming up to me at a session one time and telling me he didn't have any legal experience and he was really concerned about finding a job after completing the program. And I asked him what he did, what his experience was, and he was a paramedic. And so I started cross-examining him a little bit, and I asked him, well, are you good with people? Yes. Are you able to multitask? Yes. Are you able to do, whatever it was. I continued asking him, and I pointed out to him, like, listen, these are all qualities that law firms, that legal departments look for in their paralegals. So you already have these skills. You already have these qualities. You just need to focus on that in your resume and cover letter. And this always ends up sounding so negative. You need to put that spin on them. You need to enhance them. That's a better way to say it. In your resume and cover letter, to show potential employers that you have the qualities that they're looking for. You may not have acquired those skills and qualities in a legal scenario, in a legal department, but you have them, and you can parlay them into the law along with the skills that you've learned in the Duke program. So as Phaedra said, that employment strategy section is invaluable in assisting you to do that, and in also helping you to take a step back from your cover letter, from your resume, and see how it's seen by other people. How are you coming across to other people? So it really is very, very helpful. Are there any online graduates who are...
And I just want to
Oh, go ahead.
also I'm sorry. I want to know, but most of the who come into our program don't have a legal background. They've never encountered the law at all. So that's normal. Don't feel intimidated if you don't have any kind of connection to the law already. That's what this course is exactly designed for. It's designed for you. And a lot of our students are college graduates who want to continue their education to get something very job specific. So we get a whole gamut of students, and the law is again, it's a lot of using skills you probably already have, but learning the terminology and kind of learning the language and the culture of the law, I guess I would say.
That's a perfect way of saying it. Okay, we have another question. Are there any online graduates who are available to discuss their experiences with prospective students? Idra?
No, that is one aspect of the online program that doesn't, that we do in the classroom, but we don't do with the online. It's harder to keep that connection because people are coming from all over the country. So now I'll try to think of some graduates I could think of that might be interested in talking with you, and maybe a person whose name I do not know, send me an email tomorrow, and I'll
let you, and
talk with that and
I will
see
let
if there's any recent graduates who'd love to chat.
And again, with the online program, of course, you don't have the same, in class kind of bouncing things off of each other experience that you do, but you will be working, you will be assigned an individual attorney instructor who will work with you throughout the duration of the online program. So when you have questions, you can email them to your instructor will respond to your questions. You can set up phone calls with your instructors. As you are submitting your work, your instructors will return your work to you graded and with comments. So, it's definitely sort of a different learning experience online than it is in the classroom, but it is absolutely no less valuable, and you do have that one-on-one connection with your instructor, which is very nice and very helpful. And Phaedra and I can also certainly discuss some online students who may be available to that. And of course, we're happy to answer any online program questions you may have as well. Okay, any other questions? I'll give it a minute to see if anything else comes in, give you a chance to type. And I'm sorry everybody is muted, but I've learned through trial and error that it really is the most efficient way to conduct a webinar. I did one time where someone's dog barked in the background for the entire time, and of course then we're all just focusing on what's wrong with the dog. So is the dog hungry? What does it need? So, we did find that the easiest way is to just type the questions in and just be able to focus on just the one or two voices with minimal background. So thank you.
Yeah, we've had some great questions tonight.
Yeah.
So this has been, yeah, I feel very, I love it when we get good questions.
It's a hot bench, Phaedra. So that's always a good thing. It's when you get when you're in court before a judge, you generally I guess it depends on the case and it depends on your argument, but it's always much more interesting and much more fun for everybody when the judges ask questions and when there is back and forth between the judge and the attorney, and here between Phaedra and myself and all of you. So we do thank you for your good questions this evening, and I don't see that any more are coming in. So if that is the case, I guess we will call it a night. We will thank you for your interest, for your time, for your enthusiasm. Again, the most important and best question may be
Yes, thank you so much.
maybe the one you remember to ask as soon as we log off, and if that is the case, that's fine. Please feel free to email Phaedra at paralegal@duke.edu. We will be in touch tomorrow, and we will have a recording of the webinar available for you tomorrow, but if there are no further questions this evening, again, I will thank you all for your time. Phaedra, of course, as always, thank you for your time and your knowledge and experience and your help in sharing all of the ins and
Thanks so much,
outs.
Stephanie. Thanks, everyone. Please feel free to email us with questions.
Yes, thank you so much, and everybody have a great night. All right, thank you. Good night.